It was 1 a.m. when my phone buzzed. I was half asleep, scrolling aimlessly through old messages, when I saw her name light up the screen. Don't wait for me tonight. Claire. My wife. My partner of 7 years. Those 7 words hit me like a punch in the chest. I sat up straight, staring at the message, heart racing. Don't wait for me tonight. The usual calm she kept in her texts was gone. Instead, there was distance, tension, a coldness that I hadn't felt in a long time, or had I been ignoring it? I thought about all the nights she had stayed out late, coming back hours after I had gone to bed, the excuses about work, friends, or just needing space. But something about this one felt different. There was intention behind it, an almost daring challenge. Stay home. Don't expect me. I didn't panic. I didn't type back a long message, begging, pleading, or questioning her. Instead, I calmly opened the gallery on my phone, found a recent photo of us together, laughing at dinner, her head leaning on my shoulder, her hand tucked in mine. I sent it to her with one line. I'm already here. No explanation. No guilt tripping. No accusations. Just the truth of what I felt. And then I waited. Minutes ticked by. I heard the quiet hum of the city outside, the occasional honk from cars passing by, the faint murmur of neighbors. My phone stayed silent for a while, and I felt a strange mix of anxiety and certainty. She would either ignore it, or she would come. She came. I wasn't surprised when her footsteps echoed in the hallway minutes later, rapid and uneven. The door swung open, and there she was, Claire, breathless, hair a little messy, cheeks flushed, not from the cold, but from the realization that I hadn't reacted the way she expected. She froze. Our eyes met, and I didn't move. I didn't say a word. I just held her gaze, steady and unflinching. What did you mean? She stammered, voice shaky, hands fidgeting. I smiled faintly, the calmest I had felt in weeks. You just proved something, I said softly. You can't run from what matters. Not from me, not from us. Her lips parted, trying to form words, but none came. Her shoulders slumped, the tension in her posture melting just slightly. She knew she had pushed too far, and for the first time she wasn't running. She was facing me. Claire stepped fully into the apartment, closing the door behind her. Her breaths came fast, shallow, almost like she had been sprinting. Not just physically but emotionally, trying to escape the weight of her own decisions. I stayed where I was, calm, seated on the couch, letting her energy hit the room without matching it. You didn't yell or call me names, she said, her voice trembling. I thought you'd be angry. Furious. I wasn't, I said quietly, letting the words hang in the air. Because anger doesn't fix this. Running away doesn't fix it either. She sank onto the couch beside me, a careful distance apart, like she was testing whether she was allowed to be close again. I didn't move. I didn't reach out. I just let her realize the truth in my silence. Her actions had consequences, and yet, I wasn't going to make it worse by showing frustration. You didn't expect me to come back? She whispered, almost afraid to hear my answer. I expected you, I replied. Because at the core you care. You just forget sometimes. You forget the bond we have. She looked down at her hands, twisting the ring on her finger. I was tired, and I didn't want to deal with the conversation we had earlier tonight. I just wanted to escape for a little while. I nodded slowly. I get it. Everyone needs space. But space doesn't mean distance from reality. You can't push me away and hope the problem disappears. Her eyes finally lifted, meeting mine fully. The fear, the guilt, the tension in her posture. It was all there, raw and real. For the first time that night, she didn't try to hide it behind sarcasm, excuses, or distractions. She just faced me. And that's when I knew the moment had shifted. The balance between us, fragile for weeks, was beginning to right itself. It wasn't magic. It wasn't manipulation. It was simple acknowledgement. I had stayed calm, I hadn't reacted in anger, and she had realized she couldn't escape the truth of her actions. She leaned closer slowly, almost tentatively. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to push you away. I know, I said softly. But it matters what you do now, not what you say. Actions speak louder than words. Her lips quivered. She wanted to apologize more, to explain herself, to justify why she had texted that message at 1 a.m. But the truth was clear. We couldn't fix this with words alone. She needed to show me and I needed to see it. And in that quiet, dimly lit room a choice was made. Claire wasn't running anymore. She had come home and that was the first step toward making things right. Claire's presence in the living room felt heavier than any words could describe. She sat across from me, knees tucked under her arms, trying to process the gravity of the moment. I could see it in her eyes, the mix of relief, shame, and a desperate need to reconnect. I don't want to lose us, she whispered, voice barely audible. I didn't think it would matter if I stayed out just for a few hours. But seeing you waiting calm, not angry, it hit me. I leaned back slightly, letting the pause stretch, giving her room to feel the consequences of her choices. Claire, I said, keeping my tone steady, this isn't about one night. It's about respect, trust, and the little moments we let slip. One night of ignoring that could turn into months or years if we don't pay attention. Her fingers fiddled with the edge of the couch cushion. I know. I realize that now. That's why I came home. I needed to face it, not run. I nodded, quietly pleased. Her honesty, her willingness to admit her mistake, mattered more than any apology she could offer. And in that moment I understood something profound. Control isn't about yelling or punishing. It's about holding space for accountability and letting the truth do its work. She finally stood and stepped closer, hesitating just a heartbeat before reaching out to touch my arm. Can we start over? Just tonight. I took her hand gently, feeling the tension in her fingers ease slightly. We can, I said softly. But starting over means being present. It means acknowledging the trust we have and choosing it over convenience, fear, or impulse. One message at 1 a.m. could have pushed this too far. But you came back. That matters. Her lips quivered in a small smile, relief washing over her face. I'll do better. I promise. And just like that, the moment shifted completely. The fear, the guilt, and the tension that had hung between us evaporated. Not because we said all the right words, but because actions spoke louder than any text or excuse. Claire had come home. She had acknowledged the line she crossed, and she had chosen to return. Later, lying together in the quiet of the night, I realized the lesson was simple yet powerful. Sometimes waiting calmly, showing trust without surrendering strength, and letting the other person confront the consequences of their choices can change everything. One photo, one message, one night, it wasn't about control. It was about clarity, presence, and letting love guide the truth. And in the end, Claire wasn't running anymore. She was home. And that was all that mattered.